Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This old white man is willing to present his credentials to the remainder of the council if they would like to see those credentials.
Other discussion.
Oh, poor Terry. I think he took
God.
offense to that.
Let's just end it with this.
Yeah, that was a little smug. Jeez Louise.
Maybe we should take after Terry's example, and let's sit around here and pout a little bit.
Yeah,
because
my
we're old
God.
white men, you know.
No, I want you to bring your credentials in next time.
Yeah, we should all have some credentials on
And
the
you
table.
too.
Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome back to Talking Racine. I'm Dr. Ken Jorgen, your host. On my left is Mr. George Myers.
Morning.
To my right, Mr. Jim Spodek, our executive producer. And man, have we got a show for you tonight. First off, how about a weather report? It sucks out there.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Winter
Not a
is
good
here.
day.
Winter is here.
When do we have a weather report? I'm thinking, oh,
Yeah, exactly. It's moving on to the mundane. Well, we're going to go over new Mayor Mason's acceptance speech and make some comments on it. So how much of it do we want to watch here? Well, we don't really personally want to watch any of it, I don't think.
well, I mean, he made an address to the citizens. Really, he had his back to the council. I haven't seen that before, but
And he received a resounding response.
Yeah, full house. You know, I mean, a lot of the mayors, you know, when they are brought, you know, when they win, they have a big turnout. But there's three things I think he pushed was middle class jobs, the environment, and then the schools. So those
Well,
seem to be
Foxconn.
Foxconn, and
that goes with the middle class jobs.
Right.
But let me repeat, the middle class does not have jobs. The middle class are business owners. There's doctors and lawyers and shop owners, etc., etc. When you work for a living, you're a working class person. Nothing wrong with that, but I wish he would just get his dialogue straight.
Yeah.
You know, get his terms squared away. So Foxconn is that's going to save our economy, I guess. That's going to really turn things around
this
here.
This is a truly new frontier for the United States. At this little island off the
Taiwan.
continent of Japan, Taiwan is going to come in here and rescue this great big thing called the United States. I have a little trouble with that concept. I'm not sure how it's going to actually work out. I have my concerns, but I'm willing to have it. If it works out, that's great. I have no problem with that. The problem is all this hope and putting our political future and our economic future into a little company that comes into the state with these 10,000, 13,000 jobs. And to put that in perspective, remember how many jobs Scott Walker promised when he was going? 250,000
Right.
jobs. So this is about 5% of that. So when you start looking at it in the overall picture of the state and everything, I'm not quite sure how.
And you spend $3 billion to get it. I mean,
Yeah.
we go into it, but Cory loves it. Cory wants it. And
Well, he struggled with the vote up in the assembly. I mean,
Yeah.
he talked about how difficult it was for him to vote for this, but he ended up biting the
broke
bullet
ranks.
and,
Yeah.
and
Broke ranks.
voting for it.
broke rank. Okay, well, let's play a little bit here.
Every day to begin the work of rebuilding Racine's middle class. It is the call I heard from voters over and over again, and it's why I ran for mayor. I promise that the primary focus of my administration will be to get people back to work in good, family-supporting jobs. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with Foxconn coming nearby, but only if we seize that opportunity. There are 10,000 construction jobs coming to the area. We will work with the building trades and labor to get our people ready for those jobs.
Oh,
Okay, well,
that was inspiring.
yeah, well, it's Foxconn. He's hanging his hat on Foxconn. I mean,
Right,
that's-
and it again, it's an outside source. It's saying that somebody else is going to do something for me,
right.
which, I don't want to get real political here, but the Democrats have generally been in that range, which he claims that he is that we're going to do something for you instead of let's set it up so that you can do for yourself, which is the
Well,
preferred
This is
way to
very
do
much
it.
a Republican initiative.
Yeah, it's just
yeah.
well, you
No,
got
I'm
two.
just saying it's not that.
It's a merge of the two corporations, the Democrats and the Republicans.
Yeah, well,
right.
they have come together. That's right.
But here's the thing,
No, you're right on that. It's a Republican push, and,
Yeah.
and the Republicans are obviously getting into that swing also. Then that's a good point.
Yeah.
Is that we're going to have this company come in and do all this for us.
Well, it's wanting to attract corporations from outside to come in. You know.
right, as opposed to having them build from within, like
Right.
Well,
that's been the history of Racine. I mean,
Exactly.
these
Well,
are
the history of
huge-
America, really.
that's true, too.
And I mean, we've had our ups and downs, but Europe survived. We can survive. It's not it's not the end of the world. But one of the things I think that I took from it was, all right, let's just say Foxconn wasn't coming. What's Plan B? I mean, if this whole thing we're going to build a middle class, a working class on Foxconn. We're going to train them. We've got to hurry up, but we got to put all this together. What's Plan B? All right, Foxconn doesn't happen, and it's been proven that they have faltered in other areas.
Well, and that happened recently in this big to do over the takings clause of the Constitution. You know, the eminent domain, where this woman went all the way to the Supreme Court. They went to get her property. And what's happened to that property now? What's it like now?
Yeah, vacant.
It's vacant land.
Yeah.
The whole project that was centered about fell through.
George, we've got one in our own area, Bong Air Force Base.
Yeah.
There's a perfect example. They're going to put a big airport or a
Strategic Air Command was going to go there.
Was going to go there. They buy all the houses. They do nothing. What's it now?
Well, it's a
Pheasant hunting.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a recreation area.
Yeah,
well, what else could it
We
be?
can go
Recreation
camping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and
That's how I've
that's
used it.
fine, but I mean, it was the same thing. Not everything goes as planned, and I guess I'm probably the most skeptic. I don't think Foxconn is going to be anywhere near. It's going to be. I've said it before, machinery row on steroids, and I just see a disaster coming. But I mean,
Well,
he's banking
but to
on it.
answer your question, I don't think there was a backup plan there.
No.
There was no talk ever about how we're going to let businesses grow more easily in the city of Racine. There was no talk about cutting down on the amount of bureaucracy or watching how it would tax
or even
tax these
services
companies.
offered to the community for the dollars, that tax dollars. Taxes go up, services go down. I mean, we've been all through that. I'm going to play this clip now. This was USA Today, and I'm not sure if they did the study or whatever, but Racine was number 4. Worst city to live in for Black Americans.
This
And-
is a truly amazing.
Yeah.
Watch this one, folks. This is an amazing accounting.
So you've got this, Cory, you've been in office at the state level for 11 years. This didn't happen overnight. We've got the highest incarceration rate of African American males in the world, really.
Yeah.
We've got now, we're the 4th worst city for African Americans in the country. You've had 11 years. This particular district encompasses these statistics.
Yeah, that
I mean,
district.
where you been?
That district, more than any other part of Racine,
Yeah.
is impacted
Right.
by that.
I
In
just
fact, that was actually carved out, historically carved out, specifically to attract minority representation to the state
you mean
assembly.
gerrymandered.
Well, yeah, they don't call it gerrymandering when it's done in the open and a specific
Right,
intent is
Right.
given for it.
I just have a hard time when we talk, these glowing.
Well, you know
Future.
what? I think this is Plan B, and there was no Plan A.
What do you mean Plan B? I'm
Foxconn.
Oh,
Foxconn
yeah.
is Plan B. This is what we're falling back on because Plan A just didn't exist.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree.
this is a move of desperation in my estimation.
So I mean, again, we don't see the building of the community. We see this company coming in, and we're just going to unload, and this is going to save the day. I got a real problem with that, but we'll move on.
This opportunity is just 5 miles away from Racine, but it might as well be 500 miles away if we don't aggressively fight for our residents to succeed, and that's what we will do. So no doubt there is work to do to ensure that our water is protected and that the promises made for jobs are fulfilled. We need transparency and accountability for this to work. But to be clear, this is the biggest jobs opportunity of my lifetime. We will seize it and give back to people and the city of Racine the dignity of work.
I think the biggest job opportunity would have been keeping some of the companies that were in Racine here. I don't know how many thousands of jobs have left in this community.
Well, you know,
And some of that was caused by Wisconsin's tax statute. Remember, we were always in like the top 4 or 5 for tax
Right.
rate in the state of Wisconsin,
Right.
which Cory was involved with.
right.
Cory Mason as a legislator, and how we're spending money there. Much like the council is the governing body of the city of Racine, actually the legislature is the governing body of the state of Wisconsin. The governor can't do anything without the legislature first passing it. Well, at any rate, we'd gotten up to the 5th highest, frequently up in that range, tax state in the country. We've finally gotten down to around 20 or 25. We're getting down to the middle, which is good. But that is caused more problems. You're talking about the history of losing
Right.
these companies,
Right.
of these companies trying to exist in a high tax state, let alone trying to come in and get started up in a high tax state. Both these were very difficult things, and both things were under his control. This was before Scott Walker, where he had been in
Right.
there.
They had the opportunity. Exactly.
Yeah, so he's
Right.
he's had chances to do things, and have probably do. Well, I'm not going to say more, but certainly in the legislature, probably more than he would actually have as mayor now.
Oh, yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
Yeah.
depending on how he runs the council and how the council operates, how
Well, he's not
it's gonna
supposed
be.
to run the council.
That's right. That's
Exactly.
in theory.
council is
The
an
council is the
independent
governing
body.
body.
Somewhere
right.
along the line, this mayor got to be the king, and it's not anywhere supposed
It's
to
not
work
designed
like
that way. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, one of the other things he mentioned in there was water. Protect our water. We got a picture of him standing up there signing for Foxconn. Now, we went through this before, and what comes off to was LED screens.
Manufacturing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Cadmium,
just, it's
copper, I think barium was another
barium.
one.
Yeah. I mean, it's some really, really bad stuff. So we're going to protect the water. Well, you better protect it if you're bringing in this factory, because it's going to puke out a lot of stuff.
I think that was the biggest concern, the environmentalists, or if there was any real big opposition to Foxconn, it was from the environmentalists.
But here's the
And
thing.
their
I mean,
concern
I
was
pulled
the
up some
pollution.
stuff on Cory. He's worried about cow manure containing wells. I mean, it calls it a serious, serious problem. I mean, what, Foxconn isn't? I mean, you know, to break, Foxconn was going to come anyway. I just, you know, when we talk about this being a progressive, I just don't see him being a progressive. I see him being, you know, which way is the wind blowing? I'm going to jump and, you know, I'm going to get on the right side of that wind that's blowing. You know, that's what I see. I mean, if you could have stood up for the economy or the environment. I mean, if that was what your total idea was, to stand up for the environment, you should have done it, Cory. See, this is what bothers me about these guys. The principles are, you know, reaching across the aisle. No, you've given up your idea of who you are.
Well, it's called situational ethics.
Well,
Depends on the circumstances.
Right.
You know,
And I got a feeling we got a lot of that.
Well, we saw that from the arena, just to get
Yeah.
down into a real local thing, where he came out carrying the torch. He was going to carry forward the
Right.
arena. As soon as he found out that he wasn't going to get elected, carrying that torch and
Right.
going in that direction, he quickly changed and said, "No, he will stop the
I
arena."
just don't see anything changing, really, what we're seeing. I see, you know, a lot of clapping and a lot of, you know, glad handing, but
Well, interesting you should mention the arena, because he did vow that he's going to put an end to that. That's a done deal. That's killed. It's over. There's no possibility that the arena is going to go through. And yet, somehow or another, bonding was approved in the latest budget
That's right.
to
Right.
to build the
And
arena.
he has had a chance to veto. I think.
He
I
had
think
5
it's time
days
to-
from the time it was approved.
That's 5 business days, which would be coming up pretty quickly.
Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday.
So are you going to take a switch, or is this going to be a pass ball? I mean, are you going to take a pitch?
Now, and this all it takes is it doesn't even require a veto on the budget itself. This was part of the capital improvements plan.
right, that's
Right.
right.
See, so you could veto that with a very minimal amount of negative impact at all, and just saying, no, I promise I wasn't going to let this go through. I'm not going to sign this. I'm not going to approve this thing that says we're going to set up the bonding for this arena. $49.5 million worth of bonding.
Well, it might
And
be a
he's got a
good time.
chance to do it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
He could do
Well,
it,
we're
and
gonna
we could
see.
all
I
take a deep breath and say,
Yeah.
good.
That would be one thing I would say. Hey, I'll give him the credit he deserves if he does it.
Well, there were 5 alderpersons who voted against including that in the budget, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Alderman Widener, Perez, Lemke, Smetana, and was it
Jones.
Molly Jones?
Molly Jones.
Molly Jones. 7 others voted for it.
Right. Or yeah. Right.
7 voted for it, and there were, one was chairing the meeting, one was absent, and the other was the mayor.
The other was the
So
mayor.
those were your other 3. Now here's the point though: is that if those 10 hold form, they could override his veto, which is fine. He at least vetoed it, and if they override the veto, fine. But another one of his campaign claims was that he would be the most influential of all the mayoral candidates to influence.
He was best positioned.
The aldermen into changing their vote and voting against it. So he only needs to get one of those 10, and he seems very friendly with the temporary mayor, Dennis Weiser, that he at least might be able to get Weiser's vote changed. You know,
In the meantime, I sent that email out, and I repeated it a week later. Thus far, I've had 3 responses. Only one has really taken a position. The other 2 have said, well, we don't have all the information yet. I don't want to say what my position is at this time. And
that means they were on the maybe on the fence a little bit. So Cory Mason, a new mayor Mason, comes up and talks to them and says, "Hey, get one of those 10, of those 10 to change it." Well, he claims he could do it.
I'll tell you. Here's what really needed to be done here was to clean house at City Hall.
Yeah.
And that's not happening here. Matter of fact, they're almost celebrating the fact that now we have these.
Oh, he's maintaining all the committee appointments that Weiser made before.
Exactly.
We're just going to leave everything the way it is.
Just gonna, we're just going
to in all fairness, now he never claimed he was going to change any of that. There's certain things he made claim to. That he was going to be influential and get that Reno vetoed. He has a chance to veto it now. He was going to.
George, what's going to change at City Hall without making some major changes?
Well, but I'm just looking. Yes, I understand that. I totally agree with that, folks. I understand that you need to make some other basic changes, but he never promised those.
Yeah. Well,
he never said he didn't. He was going to bring about this minimum wage increase. He's going to bring out more. Good things for the middle class, the middle.
I think he did talk about breaking up the Good Old Boy Network.
Okay, well I missed that.
I'm pretty sure he made that promise.
Well, whatever.
I think there's promises made on a campaign trail because I'm getting heat on the other side, and I'm sure the polling called for you better change it. Yeah, the polling because I think that's how they live by polling. I mean, this is a club, and this club continues to roll forward. So I just don't see much changing happening here. But let's get back. He's going to talk about the global warming now in Racine.
Oh.
Climate change is real, and Racine will lead by doing our part to address it.
Governor Scott Walker launched a signing celebration for the biggest economic development project the state has ever seen.
We are so excited to have Foxconn here with this $10 billion investment, leading to 13,000 good-paying, family-supporting jobs right here in the state of Wisconsin.
It remains skeptical of the deal and the state's commitment. Here in Racine County, the welcome mat is out for Foxconn and the thousands of jobs that it promises to bring with it. In Racine County, I'm Kent Wainscott, WISN 12 News.
Though is personally guaranteeing up to $500 million if Foxconn does not fulfill its side of the contract. Major construction on the new Foxconn site is expected to begin next spring.
Going to begin next spring. They don't even have the land yet.
Yeah, they don't have the land. They're going to come next spring. And here's the thing. Terry Gao is guaranteeing $500 million on the $3 billion loan.
Terry Gao, is that the president of Foxconn?
President of Foxconn. Okay. Now, he personally guarantees it. He's Chinese or Taiwanese.
Yeah.
How do you guarantee, how do you collect on that? That's international law. You're not going to collect on this. You're not. He's guaranteeing. Well, so what? I mean, you got to chase this guy across the continents? I mean, come on. Who pulls a deal like this?
Yeah, there may be a little bit of a break in the translation there. Maybe he doesn't understand what guarantee means in this country. He thinks it means like, I promise you that I will do this or something like this,
Right.
or the best of my ability.
That is
this
the
will
best
happen.
one where I'm going to guarantee it. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, see, now that the contract is signed, people can look at it.
Yeah, yeah. You don't sign. Let's not look at that contract. That's what I like.
Yeah, a true guarantee he would.
I
he
mean,
would have
if you're
to,
asking
we'll let you see it
for
after
a
we sign it.
disaster, this is the way you do it. Don't look at the contract and just get it signed.
Yeah.
Have somebody guarantee money that you can never collect from.
That's a good one.
I mean,
yeah.
have all this. And I think if there's somewhere in here, have somebody else put up $700 million. That's what Mount Pleasant is putting up in a county is putting up. That
700 million?
I got the figure here somewhere. Yeah, it's staggering.
wait a minute, I haven't heard of
Yeah,
this one
it also
before.
is a big bet for Racine County and the village of Mount Pleasant, which together have committed to $764 million in local incentives for Foxconn, an agreement that has yet to be formally signed. That's still out there. So now Mount Pleasant is in the game. Now you're talking about, mom and dad's tax.
Well,
It's just, this is such a disaster. I mean, if you're asking for a disaster and how to cook one up, this is it.
well, here's what I'm seeing
Not
up
very
to this point.
optimistic, is it?
No, he's not. The governor has failed to get his 200,000 jobs.
Right.
Cory Mason has failed over in the legislature to help with any of that and get Racine going. Mount Pleasant and the county of Racine still have also been struggling. So they've all made these promises. We're going to bring jobs back, and not a single one of them has come through on it.
No, wait a minute.
And all of
wait
a sudden,
minute.
here comes Foxconn. So all of a sudden, they're all together now. Arm in arm. And Cory Mason and the governor. Jonathan Delagrave.
Don't worry about the environment.
Hey, we're going to do it. This is
all
going
you
to change
corporate guys,
Wisconsin.
come on, let's get together.
Thank
here.
God for the Chinese.
Oh,
I just
my
don't want to hear
God.
any more criticism about the Chinese.
Hey,
anyway.
Cory worked very hard up there in the legislature. He got $9.5 million, remember, in tax breaks
Oh, yeah.
to,
That's right.
for Machinery Row. And
I
that's-
got a question.
Wow. Cory,
Corey,
Mason, Machinery Row.
what did you know about Machinery Row? There's a question.
Yeah, and when did you know it?
And when did you know it? Because that's going to come up. So we'll bring that up on another episode.
Oh,
There's a lot more.
What did Cory know?
Yeah. What did Corey know?
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
And what did he have to do with it all?
Exactly.
I mean, what
it's just one
influence
disaster.
did he have on the whole project?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I thought we were going to get a little bit about climate change here.
We are. Well, he just
talked
talked about it. Maybe this is.
I mentioned climate change earlier. It's colder than hell out there.
Yeah,
No, he does. He
that
talks
was in
about
the weather
footprint.
report.
And that
We're
was
in a
on-
Cory report right now.
It changed since last week, George. Damn it.
Okay.
That was the climate change is the carbon footprint in Racine is going to be reduced, and it's real.
We're going to lead the way.
We're going to lead
Now,
the way.
how
our
does
part.
how does that happen through the mayor's seat? Is that what the proposition is?
I don't. know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
I think.
I'm worried more about I think citizens are worried about the pothole in front of their garage in the alley.
Well, that's true.
know?
That's very true. And he can do something about that type of climate
Right.
change. But when it comes to actual this global type of thing, I think he had more power and more effect over that from the state legislature's
Absolutely.
standpoint than from the mayor,
Absolutely.
who doesn't even run the city.
Exactly.
Well, we all have to do our part. I'm looking for solar panels on your roof. That's what I'm looking for.
we'll keep looking for them.
All right. I think you're going to talk about schools here. Let's go to schools.
They're a good idea.
If you
George.
find them, let me know.
Yeah. You'll
Fight for our public schools to create the citizens and the workforce of tomorrow. I went to Racine Unified Schools. If I am any value as a public servant, it is in no small part to the fact that I attended those schools. There is no scenario where Racine succeeds without strong public schools.
What fomented the whole thing.
Here's the thing.
that they're pretty equal.
Now you're at a legislative level. You have this district. There's nothing that you don't know is coming down from the Republicans or any other place, or even here in the community, about the schools being possibly taken over or Caledonia exiting Unified. You didn't know anything about this in 11 years. There was no bills. There was nothing out there. So all of a sudden now it's this big deal, and you come to Racine, I'm going to be a mayor, and I'm going to save these schools. I mean, that was the most irritating of all of his statements.
Yeah, because it's not under the purview of the mayor whatsoever.
Right. And he's coming up, and I've got statements here. It's hard to imagine someone that would be more divisive and have more of a negative impact on school children than resegregating the schools. Mason said. He's talking about Walker. I mean, he
I
goes
don't think
on
the
and on
purpose
and
of
on.
Unify was to desegregate the schools. The purpose of that was to bring a more professional viewpoint into the schools through a school board, rather than the way it used to be run through the aldermanic council. You know?
George, we can go back to the whole Democratic community in Racine, who has been heavily Democratic for 30 years. This didn't happen overnight, but we've had the Democrat in control of Racine for 30 years, and this is some of the results of that. And not having, I mean, we've got a club in Racine for 30 years, and we saw it firsthand, and it continues even now with his aide is going to run for the seat. I mean, it just continues, and it has to stop. You have to slice this off. You have to go back to the basics and understand the community and build back up from the community. Continuing on with what's been a failure is not going to save us. And of course now it's Foxconn.
Well, and all I'm saying about the Unified is that, you know, for Caledonia to pull out like they've been trying to do now for quite a number of years, they brought in studies, the whole ball of wax, to figure out how they can do this. Yes, it might be breaking it up, but that's not their intention. Their intention is just to get their students out of there and quit paying these high unified taxes and get a better education out of it. That's what their purpose is, to do it. And there seems to be some feeling that all they're trying to do is destroy Unified, and I've sat in on their
No.
hearings.
I don't get that. I think that.
No, I'm drawing it out of what people are saying now about that breaking up Unified.
Right.
They're trying to make it look like that's what they're doing, is breaking up Unified. Well, it might be, but it's only as a side collateral damage type of thing. Their purpose is they want a better education and not having it cost them so much money.
Well, it would be interesting to go back and review the debate that took place when Unified was first formed.
That would be great.
Because I think a large part of it had to do with cost savings. And I don't know that that's been what the result
Well, I
has
think it's
been.
probably been the opposite of that.
Yeah, I think
But
it's
the
gotten
thing
more
is,
expensive.
when he talks about schools, you had 11 years and you basically failed. Those 11 years has been an utter failure to the school system. And if you had a chance at that level to do something and you did not, now you come to Racine and you're talking about fixing the schools as a mayor. I mean, it's just...
Yeah,
it's completely
a
bad.
state legislator has far more
absolutely.
influence over and potential impact on the schools
I mean,
than a mayor
he
does.
should have been...
A mayor can be like a role model, I guess, and you can be a cheerleader, but in terms of
Where
actually
was the red flag?
effective
When did
policy,
he ever
it's
come
not
down here with a
part of
red
their
flag
job.
saying, hey, the schools are in trouble. We got issues going on with the schools. We have to have meetings.
Campaign time. He came down to campaign time.
No,
exactly
I think
what it was.
that's what Doc hit it. You know, you got the bully pulpit. You've heard that reply to the president. The mayor has a similar status. He's got this pulpit from which he can preach about things, but that's about as far as it goes, because Unified, what it did is it set up an entirely separate political district.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
run by it's got its own
an
taxing
independent
system.
entity.
It's got its own leadership. The whole ball of wax separate from the mayors. Now, it used to be that the mayor and the council ran the schools. That was before Unified.
Right.
And Sturtevant had their schools, and Mount Pleasant had their schools, but then they took this section, started at I-94, went up up into Caledonia, and over to Lake Michigan, and that became Unified School
Exactly.
District.
Well, you
And-
had the
and that-
neighborhood schools, and I mean, I went to a neighborhood school. I mean, I know what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
Which one did you go to?
North Park.
North Park,
Yeah,
huh?
North Park School.
I don't think we ever played baseball against you guys.
No, I
I went to
don't
the
think
Gas.
so. No, we were. They actually didn't have
We
a
would have
fifth
kicked
grade.
your butt.
They didn't have a fifth grade when I went to school. You know. So anyway, we'll move on here. It's he's actually now going up to the mayor's.
Yes, he's going to receive a welcome from the acting mayor.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor. You're driving the car now. Drive carefully and watch out for the backseat drivers.
He's not driving the car. The council is supposed to drive the car.
At least we got a mention on the proceedings. the backseat drivers.
And this was the-
You think we're the backseat drivers?
It's either that. If he's talking about the council, that's a very bad sign.
Yeah, right.
Because they are the drivers. He is not the driver. The mayor is not the driver. Folks, there is a very synopsis of just exactly how they feel about the mayor's seat versus the council. The driver of the car, right? The mayor.
The mayor he's kind of like the guy that would come out and fill up your gas tank. Remember when you used to go to the gas station and the guy would come out and fill
Wash
it up
the
and
windows.
wipe your windshield for you, check your oil?
Well, it's closer to that. He might be
Yeah.
the chauffeur
Yeah.
of the person that owns the car and says,
Limo.
"Take me there."
Yeah.
You know, but
All 12 of you guys are.
But he's
you guys get in.
definitely is not the person that decides on where the car is going to go.
No, he's not supposed to be.
And
but
I think that's that just exemplifies right there in those few seconds exactly what is the problem. with the city of
I
Racine.
think there is an element down at City Hall that wants it to go in that direction.
Well, and don't count out the council members from that element.
Yeah, well,
Unfortunately,
no.
the council members go right along with that. I mean, they were probably there applauding the same
Oh
thing.
yeah, and laughing. Oh my gosh,
Here's the
they're
new driver.
minimizing me, and I'm so happy
Yeah,
about that.
I don't have to be responsible for nothing. It's all the mayor's fault.
That's what you call benign neglect.
Oh my gosh!
You know,
I mean, they
just
really.
ignore your
I've never.
responsibility.
You know, I remember years ago I went in and it was a building inspector told me, he said, "Man, these council members we got now, boy, they are not doing too good." He's passed away now.
That's back when they were actually smart.
Yeah,
That was
back
actually when they
when
did
they-
something. You know, they actually kind of figured stuff out. Today, it's wow.
And I'd like
And
to
they don't
point out,
wanna
this is not just our opinion. This is in the council members' handbook.
Yeah,
It's in the
exactly.
alderman's handbook. Everything that we're talking about, who is the governing body, that's
Well, and once
that's
again, we should
right
talk
there
about-
for them to learn. Unfortunately, I don't think too many of them read it.
No, they
Yeah, and we mentioned boot camp last time. There's a boot camp coming where you can learn about what government is all about and
Right.
how it is supposed to be functioning, how it is designed to function, which is like a severely variant for what we have today.
That's right.
Yeah. What other topic have we got going on?
Let's get the last
We're
one.
seeing with the look of our committees. And if we don't start correcting this today, with the new appointment of a mayor and having new appointments to go into these commissions, particularly wastewater commission, which is going to have a whole lot of work to do with some things happening out west. Alderman Ryder.
Thank you. I concur with the remarks made by the Alderman of the 3rd District. I have made that argument for the last 2 years, and it's refreshing to hear another voice other than my own raising the same concerns about the lack of diversity and the lack of women being appointed to, in particular, the Water and Wastewater Commission. So again, it was refreshing to hear a voice other than my own raising these concerns.
Well, there's an interesting faux pas. You said the appointment of a new mayor. You didn't say the election. You said the appointment of a new mayor.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah.
John Tate too?
Yeah, I think it was an unconscious
Well,
assessment
here's
of
the thing. I
how
mean,
that whole thing
Yeah,
went down.
that's very interesting.
I give this Alderman Tate. He came up. First time I actually heard him speak that it was, actually.
Something that we could agree upon.
Yeah,
anyway,
I mean, it was
wasn't
like, hey, what?
That's what we've been saying.
This is what you should be
Yeah,
doing.
these committees are stacked.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're friends of the mayor and make sure
It'll
they
just
got
be
the right
friends of
viewpoint.
Tate now, but I mean, it'll be still. It has to get broken up. They don't understand. You're going to go nowhere with what you've got, and if you just continue on the same path you've been on, you're going nowhere. It's in any kind of business, anything you're doing. That if you're going to continue on, that's what you're going to end up with the same thing, and that's where we're going here.
Yeah, and what Sandy Widener pointed out, Alderman Widener, was that she'd been complaining about this for a long time.
Yeah.
And she'd been the only one saying anything, and all of a sudden, right across the aisle from there's John Tate coming up with the same thing.
Right.
Where'd the old white man, was it one of the arguments about...
Somebody made that remark about the committees are full of old white men.
Well, that was
Yeah.
Tate. Tate said that.
Did Tate say that? Yeah, which was just... It typified what it was. Now I know there were women on there, and there were women that had
But
dark hair,
he's
but
absolutely
everything-
right. It is.
Yeah,
It's
but-
old white guys. It's old white guys, and I call it the.
Hey, we don't
50
have a lot of room to criticize here.
We gotta watch out.
And
for
as a
that.
white guy.
Talking about 3 old white guys. Jeez. Louise.
At any rate, so that was Sandy finally got someone else to support her,
Right.
and it was from someone who had been in direct opposition to her on many issues.
Right. Right.
But he's in the seat that Michael Shields held formerly, and Michael oftentimes
Well,
was
he
in
often
agreement
talked
with
about it.
and in
Absolutely.
supportive of.
Oh,
Right.
yeah,
Things
he
that Alderman
supported.
Weiner
Well, let's see if it
Alderman
let's see if it
Weiner.
actually changes here, and let's see if we got someone that we get a different feel on those committees.
Oh, it's going to be interesting to
No,
watch.
because I
yeah.
tell you, these committees are so stacked, it's ridiculous. And I mean, rubber stamp is what you might call it.
Yeah, that's what. It's the way the mayor stacks the whole issues.
Alderman McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This old white man is willing to present his credentials to the remainder of the council if they would like to see those credentials.
Other discussion.
Oh, poor Terry. I think
Oh,
he
my
took
God.
offense to that.
Let's just end it with this.
Yeah, that was a little smug. Jeez Louise.
Maybe we should take after Terry's
Well, I'd like-
example, and let's sit around here and pout a little bit.
Yeah, oh
because
my
we're old
God.
white men, you know.
No, I want you to bring your credentials in next time.
Yeah, we should all have some credentials on
And
the
you
table.
too. I
Yeah.
mean, just because you own the camera in the building that we're in, I don't know that you deserve a seat here.
Oh
at
my
the table.
gosh! I mean, there's
we
the
need some
problem.
diversity
That
here on
is
this
exactly
program.
the problem. Yeah, we do need some diversity. I wish Lumpkin was here. We listen. That's the problem right there. I mean, this is like he takes offense to it,
Yeah.
dude. It's exactly right. What Tate said was exactly right.
Yeah, yeah.
But he takes offense to it. I've got credentials. I'm somebody.
When you do the editing on this particular tape, I want you to cut that clip out and give it to me. What Tate said was exactly right. I want to preserve that.
Yeah, well, it may only be the first one. It
It
could
might
be the
be
last.
the only time.
Yeah,
you know,
but yeah.
It's something you want to hang on to.
I will give him on that. Yeah, what is due, it's due. He just doesn't get it very often.
Well, there you go, folks. Our new mayor in action, and the city council. No changes here. Nothing to see. Move on. Go on home. Okay. Well, I guess that's about it for today.
That'll do it. Yes.
You got anything to add, Jim?
No.
You guys have kind of carried the show. I've been just kind of
Yeah.
stunned into silence here today. So thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again real soon. Have a wonderful Monday.